everybody. Welcome to the first part of our South Asian Health and Wellness Summit. I'm here, Dr. Reena Malik, and this is
Dr. Anjali Malik. Hello.
We're not related, even though we share the same last name. And today we're going to be talking to you guys about online dating, swiping right to SHAADI. So, Anjali, you want to start by sharing your story of online dating?
Sure, yeah. So I can go ahead and cut to the chase and say that it did lead to a happy marriage, but of course that's not how it works out for everyone. It can be a lot of trial and error, which is why we thought it was an important topic to touch on. So yeah, I met my husband through online dating, and it's it was a difficult decision because, as we all know, there at least used to be a little bit more stigma when considering online dating. And so I thought, should I use one of the free apps? Should I use one of the paid apps? Is it weird to pay for an app? Is this kind of like doing the kind of stuff that our parents want us to do on SHAADI.com anyway? And so I decided to use eHarmony, which now kind of makes me feel like an old lady. But I thought that would, find legitimate people and maybe less of the people who were just on there because it was free. And yeah, I paid for a 6-month subscription, and I will tell you that I used it for about a week because on the very first day, his profile popped up and we started messaging, and it moved forward from there. So certainly not the most common of experiences when it comes to online dating, but proof that, if you are using the right service and you get, maybe the right algorithm, that you can find something that works.
Yeah, so my story was almost 13 years ago now. So long before online dating was cool or accepted. And
Right.
I joined actually IndianDating.com, and it was kind of a joint thing. So me and my Jewish friend, he joined JDate, he was Jewish, and I joined Indian Dating. And we're like, we were both first-year medical students. We didn't have time to go out and meet people. And we're like, whatever, let's just try it. And
Right.
so I was on it for longer than a week. I don't remember exactly how long, but my husband now, who is my husband, who I met on there, was the first person to message me. However, we didn't talk right away. So for a while we didn't talk. We messaged a couple times and nothing came of it. And I did, get a lot of messages. I think I talked to one other person, and that really didn't go anywhere either. And then my now husband messaged me and said, hey, what's your email or what's your phone number? Let's talk further. And I said, okay, let's give this guy a chance.
Right.
I think the beauty of online dating is that my husband is someone I would have never predicted myself with. I would have never gone out of my way to say hi to him if I saw him outside, because he's just not the type of person I thought I would end up with, but he is so perfect for me. And we spent a lot of time talking on the phone before, and I think that's really key in getting to know your partner and making sure they're worth your time and effort, because I actually missed him when I didn't talk to him, and that was a good sign. So I think it's a really powerful tool. I will say I know people who've done it now and successfully I know people who've gotten married off of Tinder. I know people who've gotten married off of, I think it was SHAADI.com, but and they each require different amounts of work. And I think my one friend who got married on SHAADI.com really took it like a full-time job. Like, she really talked to a lot of people, went on a lot of dates, and tried to not let herself get down when things didn't go her way. And she, was successful, but it took some time and some effort.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with all of that. I mean, I think, even when we're meeting people organically in life, a lot of times it is just those happenstance, meet at a party, meet at a wedding. Of course, in medicine, there's a lot of meet at the hospital or, somebody's friend. But online, I agree. It totally, opens up the playing field, as it were, because, you meet people that you wouldn't ordinarily meet in those organic situations. You might actually end up either having more in common with or being more compatible, right? So we think that, like we keep, I mean, a rolling stone gathers no moss, right? So we think if we're like in the situation that we're already in, that we might meet people better, but that's actually not necessarily the case. So I agree. But on the flip side, in opening up the playing field, the important thing to know about yourself is that you can't scroll through every profile, and at some point you do. If you are going to date online and sort of hope for it to lead to a serious thing, that you do want to try to narrow your focus, because there are obviously a lot of different fish in the sea, and especially online.
Yeah, I think it's important now to especially pick some things that are really valuable to you and what you want in a partner, and make sure you're not making concessions for that. If that's really important to you, I mean, if you want kids and you find someone who doesn't want kids, I mean, that's a deal breaker. Don't waste your time, even if you find them very attractive or very compelling, because it's ultimately going to lead to heartache in the long term. How would you, I still find people who are nervous about going online dating, which is funny to me since I did it 13 years ago, but
Right.
how did you get over the stigma back then of going online?
Well, I mean, I think necessity is the mother of invention, as it were. And so for me, I had just finished training, so my medical training, and I moved to North Carolina for my first job. And so I didn't really know anybody. And I had been okay with that, going into the situation, but I also knew that I needed to make both friends, and then obviously, look for a partner. A girlfriend of mine had just found herself in the same situation. She'd also just finished training, moved to a new city, and she joined Match.com, and was going on dates, and felt like she was meeting quality people. So I guess that sort of pushed me in that right direction. So I think it helped that I had a friend who was going through the same process, and also that I didn't know anyone in the area. So A, no one was going to be judging me for my, online dates, and B, I knew that it was really the best way for me to meet people in the area. So, of course, it really just led to meeting a person for me. But for some people, I know of a lot of other stories where you will go on multiple dates and then go on to just, meet people who end up being friends.
Right.
Um, and another piece of advice that a friend had given me a long time ago is, you never know where you're going to meet the one, and it doesn't always have to be about just meeting your partner. You meet a lot of other people along the way, and so just looking even at online dating as just an opportunity to meet new people, and hopefully one of those will be the one.
Right, right. And I think the other thing is, I don't have a lot of friends who online date anymore, but those that do, I find that the ones who are most successful are the ones who are willing to get beyond the superficiality of things. Like, it's
Right.
easy to be judgmental about someone's nose or the way someone's hair looks, or do they have a dog in their picture, whatever it is. And I
Right.
think it's important to look at the content behind the person,
Right.
because you are missing that in online. You, in person, you do get to talk to them, so you have an immediate understanding of your attraction to their personality. And so online, you don't have that. And so you do need to go beyond the looks a little bit, to really get into the person itself.
Yeah, and not to be the plug for the more traditional platform, but I think that was one of the things I had liked about eHarmony, is that it forces you to make this really long and kind of drawn out profile. I mean, there is a lot of buy-in when you're making the profile, but even when you start messaging with another person, it doesn't even go straight to messaging. It's like first you send a smile, and then you send a smile, and then you ask a question, and then you ask a question, and it seems really silly. I mean, but it forces you to kind of open up, and kind of like you said, to move past. I mean, there has to be an initial interest, whether it is the picture or the profile, or which for me it was, right. I mean, I think the picture is obviously the first thing that you see, and the fact that eHarmony or whatever platform has said, like, this person fits whatever parameters you've set. So whether that's whatever values that you've sort of set that might be in a checkbox, and so those two things are sort of the initial. And then for me, like, my husband's profile was really interesting, and just the initial questions that played off did allow us to have something more than that just superficial initial interaction.
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, in India dating, there is also a profile, and you can write as much or as little as you want on there. And my husband happened to be a Punjabi doctor, and I was like, oh, I'm Punjabi, and there's not that many Punjabi doctors. So, let me give him a chance. And that worked out because we understand each other's lifestyle and our needs and desires for work. So I think that worked out in that way. But yeah, these algorithms on these apps now are so advanced. They really do put time and effort and research into finding algorithms that help you find a match. I mean, that's the goal ultimately. And they want people to, recommend their platform or say they got married off their platform, if that's what the platform's intended goal is, of course.
Right. Right.
So I think, take it seriously when they recommend someone to you and give it a shot and at least look at their profile.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think too, like, we're talking about it because we're two women who used it and then went on to get married. And it's perfectly fine if that's not, the goal, depending on whatever stage of life you're in. And like I said, I mean, some people use it just to meet people in general. Some people, are really just in that dating, more casual phase of life, and that's also fine. But I think it's really important to be setting those expectations on the front end, just to avoid any hurt feelings in the long run.
Yeah, and I think whatever your goal is, I think you have to take a look at the safety of what you're doing. So when you meet somebody for the first time, I would recommend doing it in a public place. And having a friend check on you via cell phone or, walking through the area, whatever it is, but just make sure that you're in a safe situation. You just never know. And I think you have to be careful, even in today's day and age. You just have to really be wary of strangers. And ultimately they're strangers when you meet them for the first time.
Yeah, no, that's definitely good advice. And exactly, let people know where you're going to be going, set the plan in advance, and then you can feel it out and see how it goes from there. I mean, sometimes, your date starts out and it's like, okay, well now let's go watch a movie or let's go do whatever. And I wouldn't feel pressured to do that, with someone that you just met from online. So I know it's different in today's culture, because everything is online. I mean, we're constantly checking in or reviewing or posting, but you would be surprised how easily information can be accessed online. So just to be mindful of that.
Did you only meet one person off your platform, off eHarmony?
So, I mean, my husband's profile came up quite literally on day one. I mean, I made my profile on a Sunday. He showed up on a Monday. I sent the little smile, and that week we started talking. 2 weeks later, we went on our first date. I did, speaking of, making friends with people, there was another person who we messaged and realized that we worked at the same, I was in a clinic, but had affiliations with the same hospital. We met. We were sort of all friends. I think, I went rock climbing with him a few times, completely platonically. There was zero attraction. But, he was someone that liked rock climbing. I didn't have a lot of friends. So you absolutely, like I had said previously, can make some friends. But, that was pretty much my limited experience with eHarmony.
So I had a lot of messages on India dating back then. The platform, there was a lot of variable people on the platform. And so I got a lot of messages. And so there was a lot of like, do I even waste my time responding to this person? And so I think really taking a look at their first message, do they address you by name? Do they, have they read something about your profile? Or is it just like a, hey, or like a, hey, you're cute, or a, whatever it is. But I think that is showing at least some initiative or some interest, that that person took more than a second to write you a message. So I would say screen your messages. You don't have to respond to everybody. You don't have to feel compelled to, because your time is limited, and you really want to make sure that you're giving time to people who are potentially either friends, partners, whatever you're looking for again, but you want to make sure you're finding the person that's right for you in that circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that's part of what limited the interactions that I had, is that, the parameters that eHarmony allowed me to set. I chose things that I didn't expect everyone to meet, what I was looking for, because obviously I'm not looking for everybody. I was just looking for the one. And so I would say I agree. A, filter your messages, but B, kind of go into it with an idea of what you're looking for, and if you do think that you have a specific idea, which you don't necessarily have to, and you'd be surprised that it might not exactly align, but maybe don't go on one of the free platforms. Maybe go with something that you might have to invest a little bit in.
Yeah, it's your future. It's absolutely worth it to invest in it, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny too, right? I mean, you did Indian dating. I did an online paid service. It's not too far off from the SHAADI.com that our parents,
Yeah.
might have wanted us to go on, and we never want to say our parents are right. And they definitely aren't always, but I mean, there's obviously some merit to the concept of SHAADI.com. It obviously gets a few things wrong, that we don't necessarily cling to in our modern society. But at the end of the day, you're looking for someone that you're compatible with, and sometimes like you liked that your husband is a Punjabi doctor. I, on the other hand, want something that's like almost the exact opposite of who I am, but also very similar, right? So there is something to matchmaking, and SHAADI.com probably do.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I had no idea what I wanted back then. I think I lucked out because my husband turned out to be just like the perfect person for me. But I think that it's okay to not know, and it's okay for it to change, but never compromise the things that really, really matter to you, and know what those are. That's something you should take some time to do some soul searching on, because otherwise you don't want to invest in somebody who might not meet those requirements.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And it's okay to, date in the beginning to get an idea, if you don't know what it is that you're looking for, but I certainly wouldn't enter into any long-term relationships, unless they're meeting some, key values and criteria for you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Reena Malik. You can find me at www.reenamalikmd.com, and all my social platforms are there. I am most active on YouTube, and you can look me up on Reena Malik MD.
Awesome. And I'm Anjali Malik MD. You can find me on both Instagram and Twitter at Anjali Malik MD, and also AnjaliMalikMD.com.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.